It's a mix of royal pomp and ceremony, but also raw politics. The British Parliament has opened for its latest session with a worsening cost of living crisis staring at the British government. The ceremonial opening took place without 96-year-old Queen Elizabeth II, who pulled out due to mobility issues. Instead, her son and heir, Prince Charles, read the Queen's speech, which is written by the government but traditionally delivered by the monarch. Prince William, who is second in line to the throne, was also in attendance. The Queen has only missed two previous state openings during her 70-year reign, in 1959 and 1963, when she was pregnant with her sons Andrew and Edward, respectively. Johnson's Conservatives are currently reeling from difficult results in recent local elections. The Prime Minister's promised 38 bills to set his agenda back on track. This session is one of the last opportunities for Boris Johnson to deliver on key policy promises before the looming next general election, which is due by May of 2024. And for all the latest on the Queen's speech and the state opening of Parliament, we have with us WION London correspondent Laura Macon-Isherwood, who's joining me live now. Laura, what did the government put in its Queen's speech? Any surprises?
Well, there was plenty in that speech for politicians to be thinking about, to be getting on with in this parliamentary year. A number of issues, of course, on the table for people that vote for them, not least the increasing cost of living, those escalating inflation rates that there are warnings could rise even further in the next few years. And of course, issues with the NHS and COVID backlogs. They were all listed as things that the government wants to address over the next 12 months in this parliamentary term. And there were other issues as well. The government's also pushing forward with its bill to try to ban conversion therapy for LGBTQ+ people. That was something that created controversy this year after the government decided to backtrack on it and then bring it into the limelight again and try to introduce it. So there'll be big questions about whether or not that is going to actually fulfill its necessary requirements. Also, whether it actually includes all the people that it needs to. There's also some surprises in there in terms of digital trade, expanding the way in which businesses can operate and push contracts to one another as well. There have been some inter-country links that have been pushed forward by the government over the last couple of years, but it seems like that might expand further. And there's also the issue of energy security and international security as well. Money, the Queen's speech said, will continue to be pushed towards the armed forces. There's also going to be a bill introduced to try to push forward more green energy types within the UK as well, ensuring that climate targets are met and also that reliance on fossil fuels, we assume, will be pulled back.
OK, Laura, and now a debate gets underway on the government's legislative announcements, easy for me to say. What is the opposition likely to focus on with its criticism in the chamber this afternoon?
Well, I imagine they're going to be focusing quite heavily on how these bills and how these laws are affecting people. Of course, the cost of living crisis is impacting everybody across the United Kingdom, affecting their pockets, the amount of money that they have to spend. There was criticism when the government introduced a national insurance hike. That's a kind of tax in the United Kingdom that's placed on paychecks, whereby you put money into a separate pot that looks at health, at social care, at pension funds and things like that. There was heavy criticism when the Conservatives decided to lift that this year. They may be pushing back on the Tory government again, saying that that needs to be addressed to try to improve the amount of money that people have to spend on their everyday costs of living. There's also questions about workers' rights that are going to be elevated as well, ensuring that people have access to the necessary contracts that they believe that they are entitled to. There are plenty of things that the government will be tackled on, and it is a very difficult environment for them at the moment, not least because they are dealing with the issues surrounding the ongoing conflict in Ukraine, but of course those inflation rises, the pressures on the economy, having to deal with the impacts of COVID that are continuing to play out. So it's likely to be a pretty exciting year in Parliament, if you like, even if the issues that are debated are actually quite negative towards a lot of the people in this area.
OK, Laura, thank you. Laura Makin-Isherwood, live in London.